I'm back, baby. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you all so much for clicking on this video. And today I am doing my review for The Wizard of Oz from 1939, which turned 85 years old today. I don't know. I didn't watch the film. I saw it fairly recently, so my thoughts are still fresh on it. And I watched it through a movie critic's eyes, so I can still break apart this film. Which, oh boy, I'm gonna get hit in the comment section for this one. But anyway, let's start by talking with the positives, and the biggest positive I can give this one is that this is a timeless classic. Whether you like this or not, you have no choice. This is a classic of a musical. This is a musical that, if anyone is like, you have to have seen this one. It's always The Wizard of Oz that people are pointing to, because it competes with something like Grease or maybe even Sound of Music, which I'm not actually a big fan of, which I actually do not like. So yeah, I know, I'm an idiot, but it competes with those for like the greatest music, probably the most well made and the best musical of all time. Even if this is a thousand times better than Sound of Freedom. But anyway, now Sound of Freedom, that's a totally different film and wildly different genre. Sound of Music. But anyway, so that is my first positive with the film, and I feel like this is one where it looks well made considering when it came out, and it still does hold up in certain regards, and in some it does not hold up, and I will go into the negatives when we get to theirs, but it feels like one that is extremely iconic for stuff like you remember the musicals like the Lions and Tigers and Bears, which has been parodied to death, which people for the last nearly century have been parodying by like putting it for some way in like their script or something, which I am honestly shocked at how easy it is to do. So, and things like the Somewhere Over the Rainbow within like the first 10 minutes, and that's an iconic one. You have Follow the Yellow Brick Road. You have just a lot of really iconic songs that were influenced, and this played a key role in like cinema, where it wasn't actually received too well when it came out. It took like a decade for people to be like, this is the real deal here. This is the real deal. And I respect it very much for what it did to cinema, and the fact is that it is one of the most well-made films of all time. It has a lot of great things, like especially another thing that people will not stop parodying, and that is the "I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too." Or I need to get a bet. I really need to find a way to get a better witch voice, because yikes. Well, I'm not gonna try it again. I already humiliated myself once, but that "and your little dog too" has got to stop, guys. We get it. You guys like to say it. Please just find a different line. It's not that hard. It's so annoying after a while. And so I love all those things about it, and I feel like it's one where this is more of a mixed aspect, but I feel like the how do I say this in a weird, I'm trying to say this that doesn't like try and hate on the film. It feels like the reputation of the film is better probably than the film itself, where it changed cinemas in a lot of ways. It really played a key role where people are just parodying it to death, where it's been copied several times, remakes galore, sequels galore, which you guys should know my thoughts on Return to Oz and how that should rot in hell. But anyway, it just does so many key things, and I feel like that alone is better than the actual film itself. And moving on to the negatives, my first negative, and probably my biggest one, is one that Film Kid just brought up in his review, which I'll try and put the link to his review in the description below, but is one where I feel like the film is extremely rushed. I'm going to say it is extremely rushed, and you may think I just copied what he said. No, I when he was like, oh yeah, that film, and when I was thinking about it to do a review, I was like, yeah, that film really is rushed, where you have that like very small section where she's at her like home thing of Kansas for like 25, 30 minutes of the film, and then you spend the next like a bit of an over an hour in Oz, and from there it's just moving quickly through everything. Like you then immediately get introduced to this, like you're then just thrown in, like you get introduced to what's her face, the pink lady, the Wicked Witch of the North. I think it's the Wicked Witch of the North, and we then immediately get introduced to the witch, and then we get introduced to Scarecrow, and they then do the song, and then which is another problem. It feels repetitive for like the first, for like there's three different times where we get the exact same thing. Where, first we get introduced to Scarecrow, we get introduced to him and how he became like this, and then we get he sings a song and like how he's not used kind of to how being like this, where he's like having trouble walking at first, and then they start singing the song of "We're off to see the wizard." Again, I am terrible at this. And then they walk off. Then they get to Tin Man, and then they introduce themselves to him, get him off of they unrust him. I just invented a new word. And then they say where they're going, and then they do it again, and they're like, "We're off to see the wizard," and then they do it a third time with the lion, and it just after a while it gets very annoying. Another negative, I would say, I'm going to be spending much more time on the negatives because the negatives are much more obvious than the positives. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I have to say that. I have to. But anyway, I would say there's a lot of really stupid decisions in this film, like one where Dorothy just runs into a field of flowers, which you probably shouldn't go into, and because she's in a place that she's never been before, and then she immediately again falls asleep, and the only people that didn't fall asleep are Scarecrow and the Tin Man. Why? Because they're not human, so they couldn't. So it's that's a stupid decision in and of itself, and something that film kid also brought up that I also knew about that I really think is a negative as well, is that she is so stupid in the beginning. She's a bit annoying at certain points. There's many points in the film where I really cannot stand her. She's very annoying, but there's a scene where they're taking away Toto, and the witch not really the witch at that point. It's more of just a very mean lady, and she grabs Toto, and then she's like, "No, don't you take him! Don't you take him!" And it's like, if you cared about Toto so much, just grab him and run. It's just, you could easily have done that. You look at her, she's frail. You could grab that dog and run. And instead, she just goes off to her room. Why would you go off to your room? Just grab the dog. Just grab the freaking dog and run. It's not that hard. If you are so smart, just go and grab the dog. It's this could easily have been resolved faster. But nope, we have to have her run away. Well, I mean, not run away. We have to have her pouting in her room. Another one that I would say is that there are some elements of the film that have dated it slightly. There's some moments with the effects on some of the flying monkey thing that have not aged well at all, and I feel some of the sound design can be off, which you can hear a lot of nowadays, where back in the really older films, the sound design can be a lot more off compared to this high definition stuff. So I feel in that aspect it has dated a lot. And another one is, I feel the lion is this is something that's for me personal, but I can't stand the lion at all. I find him extremely annoying. He's one where I do not like how every time that he gets a chance, he just immediately starts crying nah. It's just so weird of him to do, and it just gets on my nerves every time. I didn't like him at first, and I certainly have not been warming up to him. We'll just say that, but I feel he is not really well acted in that department where he's just crying all the time. And it's also weird that the way they solved the Wizard of Oz plotline with him being not even a real wizard, he's just this guy behind the scenes. I feel the way they explain it by just giving him little stickers and stuff, it's that is extremely stupid. You can justify this however you want. However you want. That is stupid. But again, I would say yes. Like I said, the film is very rushed, so like some of the plot lines can be put through, and there's some stuff in here that does not make sense in regards like there's something that I know that Film Kid complained about that I'm going to talk about here, where about the ending. He does not like the fact that the ending is, how do I say this? I wouldn't really say vague, but not really vague, but they just that they somehow end with her back in Kansas, and how it makes no sense how the house just immediately turns and then goes into Oz. And I'm here to say I think the reason that they do that is because I believe they it's not really stated, but if you're someone like me that knows movie cinema, it's like if you can pick up on the hints, it's very much implied that the entire movie, or most of it, a lot of it, was a dream by Dorothy, where you see her like kind of fall asleep, and like then she faints, and then right after that right after she faints, then it's you could then say that she woke up with her relatives, and that's the ending, and that the entire thing where she wakes up, she's not really awake at all, she's just asleep in her mind, and that's like an interpreted ending. Where also, if you take a look, all three actors of the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Lion are played by the guys that played the three helpers in the real world type thing, the real in the Kansas storyline, which I believe they tried to do that on purpose to like show her like mind and how it's like forming these people. But I would say that Scarecrow's also a really good delight to the film. He adds a certain level of charm to it, and but I've also felt like the film could be unfocused at certain points. It's not too big, and one my final negative I will give the film is that uh, go easy on me, guys. Go easy. I absolutely despise the Munchkins. I think they are some of the most annoying creatures of all time. If that can be a lot of interpreted in a lot of ways, it's because I think their face looks weird. Their voice is super weird and annoying, and the way that their little performances, their songs, I wanted to kill myself. They are such terrible. They are just so terrible when they sing. I hate it. But anyway, on a happier note, but I would say those Munchkins, yikes. Remove them entirely, the film could go up like a whole half star, but yeesh, they dragged the film down tremendously. But overall, this is a great film. Not really one for me, so if my final score for the film is a 3.5 out of 5, but I would say in terms of what it should be rated, this is easily a 5-star film. In terms of what this did for cinema, it's 5 stars. So I would definitely say to check this out. You guys will want to watch it. It's like one of the most important films in cinema. It is one that is, again, parodied to death. So make sure to watch this film, and I would recommend you buy it. It's one where I am kind of on a different planet because I recognize the fact that this film is extremely dated in certain aspects and has a lot of things like the fact that it is very rushed, and it does do several repeating plot beats to like how do I say this, extend the runtime so they can actually get like a full film. It's only like an hour 40. So overall, I do enjoy this film. It's just not one that's actually exactly catered to me. I'm not the biggest musical guy. I have some I like. It's just it's not one I'm like clamoring to do. So it's not like one I'm clamoring to explore like action or horror or sci-fi where I'm like I need to see this, etc. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. What do you guys think of The Wizard of Oz? Let me know down below. I know this is a classic, so I am about to be hailed with death threats for what I've given it of a 3.5 out of 5. I'm just saying I gave it a pass, so I should not be given death threats for this. Or I did give a classic like this 3.5, so maybe I should. Well, I wonder. But anyway, that is my take on The Wizard of Oz. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and have a good one.